Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Deep Space Nine Reactions. I am Fred. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, well, welcome back. We are in the first season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It is a show that I am very familiar with. Literally, I grew up watching Deep Space Nine. It was the first Star Trek series I saw start to finish. I was familiar with the original series in the Next Generation before DS9, but there's a special place in my heart for what is, without question, best Star Trek series of them all. And I will argue that all damn day long. All right. Um, this week, we're the episode we're are going that I'm going to be rewatching here and commentary discussion, having a conversation with you with it here is on Captive Pursuit, the sixth episode of season one, sixth overall if you count the emissary as a two-parter, which most people tend to do, of course. Um, what do I remember about this episode outright? It's like the first full-on O'Brien episode. You get your first aliens from the from the Gamma Quadrant popping through here. Uh, one could argue one is a bit of a prototype with some of its abilities as it relates to another species in the Gamma Quadrant, which we'll talk about when they appear. And then there's another one that very much is a prototype for an alien species that ends up on Star Trek Voyager, at least in terms of the just the cultural gimmick, which which is again, I have some conversation points in mind here already off the top of my head regarding this episode. Give me one moment here. I do need to. Uh, since I have to use again behind the scenes notes here, since I have to use a USB DVD player to plug into into my computer, the speed of the read the discs on the box set vibrated so much that it actually ends up moving quite a bit. It's the I can't bring it closer to the microphone, but it's quite remarkable of how good or terrible some hardware can be. And I only use it like maybe at most twice a week. So anyway, again, for those who don't know, we got the display capture up. It's blurred in a way, and we throw this text on top of it. You don't hear any audio from it because I tend to run my mouth throughout the majority of this video because I'm not only just watching it, I'm having a conversation with you all, and I kind of feel that is in part one of the key things here, that we have the conversation with you at the same time here. So there we go. Station log. Where the hell am I? She's a Dabo girl with a hell of a look. I mean, look at that. The red hair, the great forehead and everything, the ears. Kind of makes you wonder what species she is. I don't think it's ever been formally discussed. Now, here's the thing. I do have a copy somewhere of the Ferengi Rules of Acquisition. And one of the rules of acquisition is never, actually, two separate rules. One is never have sex with the boss's sister. And then there's another one, always has sex with the boss. But here's the funny thing about Ferengi culture, at least at this point in the Ferengi lore. The female Ferengi are not allowed to work. So let that sink in here. Like where those rules of acquisition come from? Are the Ferengi quite progressive in that level of sexuality? considering most Ferengi businesses have, other Ferengi working for them, such as Quark's Bars. The first alien vessel to come through the wormhole. Kira's off to the right hand side there, just standing there looking back and forth, like as if she has nothing to do. Which is true. And okay, so here we have Tosk. Tosk, and again, getting ahead of the big revelation of here, he's a Tosk is what he is. He is not quite clear if he's genetically engineered but he's more or less bred to be hunted. But he has an ability to cloak himself, and it's an interesting little gimmick because the only other species in Star Trek that I can recall seeing is that does that is the Jem'Hadar. So I kind of wonder. Obviously, at this point, things are not how much forward thinking there would be. But if you think about it in a broader sense here, okay, if there's somebody that's going to be hunting enemies that can cloak themselves, that means there's some species out in the Delta Quadrant that is like the Delta Quadrant, Gamma Quadrant, that's like have their hunting skills toned up to deal with the Jem'Hadar. It's I know it's a broad it's a broad way to consider stuff, but it lays things out in a very different way as you try to figure out what is known and what is not known about the Gamma Quadrant. Now, there's also another little detail. I have not discussed this at any point in time up until now, but since we're going into there's a rock. There's a rock flying through space, and there's the station. Anyway, not sure. I've never seen it discussed that Colin Meaney as O'Brien has his sleeves almost always rolled up when in the seasons 1 through 4 uniforms of DS9. That they're almost always. It really isn't until like the first contact uniforms are rolled in that he has the sleeves down all the time. But in the first 4 seasons of the show, his sleeves are always rolled up, and so it's a neat little touch because it makes him stand out in a large way. And I'm not just saying that because I believe for Star Trek Generations, LeVar Burton had to borrow Holmes' uniform, and it's actually the sleeves are unnaturally are way too big on LaForge. If you watch go watch Star Trek Generations and look at uh Geordie's sleeves. Like Colin Meaney is definitely built different than LeVar Burton. Of course, in that movie, it's Riker who has the sleeves rolled up because Jonathan Frakes has to borrow Avery Brooks' uniform. Garrett Graham. It was funny. I never seen Garrett to like spelled out any other way, like spelled that way ever again, like Gerrit. Nice interior of this ship. Okay, is clearly meant to be like as like a smaller single person craft, maybe at most 2 people. Also, just noticing Dak's collar is a little bit more flared out. Yep, O'Brien brought his lunchbox along. Yes, I know, I know, I know. It's a toolbox. Now, but it's kind of a cool little toolbox there. Which does remind me, I got to organize my tools and stuff. And it's a great little view shot from the interior of the panel, looking out towards O'Brien. Because the big reveal is that Toss is going to appear in the right hand side of the scene in pretty short order. Again, and another great and a straight up interior shot of a panel. He's sneaking up on you. He's sneaking up on you, Chief. And he banged his. Wonder how many times that take had to be done until it was done right, with O'Brien hitting the top of the interior of the panel. It is like I can toss the makeup and look on it. It's a very. No, now I'm thinking about it because I mentioned the Jem'Hadar earlier. There, there is a lot of like the proto Jem'Hadar here. Like so I can actually see straight up here where there is some details in terms of the makeup used for Tosk that will later be used for the Jem'Hadar in terms of like their face. In terms of face, most of the Jem'Hadar you mostly see from like their like exposed more from like the upper portions of their neck up. I'm a fat dude with a neck that kind of sinks down and I have a double chin with this beard, so I can't really show what I mean. But the Jem'Hadar are typically you normally see from like the from a large portion of their necks upward in terms of their heads, and there is a lot of what's here done with Tosks that I'm just saying is like, yeah, you know what, this guy does looks like could be used for like the bases. You just paint the guy gray. He and like give him like a bit more of like a squarer upper portion piece for the head. It's a Jem'Hadar. But of course here he's a lizard man. He's a man that is a lizard. Yeah, you know, passing through the wormhole is going to be rough for everyone. Imagine if you run into an asteroid in there. Then you would need to launch a photon torpedo. Charity field turned arm. And that's great foreshadowing. That's a great foreshadowing there to what we'll see towards the end of the episode here. It's like introduce this now, and it comes back later on. And the guy Husk has no sense of humor, but his great head movements here in terms of little head tilts and stuff. And you see, there's a little bit of a bonding moment there. Yep, it's a health center. He recognizes. And is that a Bajor? I can't tell. I never could tell. Is that a Bajoran or just a human woman that Bajir is trying to riz up? And only 300 people on the station. And was that? It doesn't count because I couldn't quite tell if it was him or not. When we see it, we know we'll say it. We'll say it all together when we get the confirmation there. 5 or 6 ships a week. Stop at the station in a week. Yeah. Wait. The look on the look on Tosk's face there is like him saying that the other people are going to deter will see what's coming through the wormhole, and they're going to follow him here. O'Brien's saying that he hopes so, and it's like Tosk looking at him like it's like it's certainly a look of like, yeah, you don't know what's on the other side, bro. The Bolian women, bald, bold, and beautiful. Although the first Bolian female we actually see was in the TNG episode Allegiance, and she had hair. Yes, he is Tosk. He is first name Random. His brother name is Task. It's a long way to go for an Austin Powers reference, but what the hell? You know what's funny about Cardassian architecture and so forth? Even the standard quarters look like prison cells. 17 minutes of sleep per day? I sleep 8 hours a day, man. If you're lucky. If you're effing lucky. True story, the day I'm recording this is like June 13th. Like I fell asleep at like 4 a.m. I woke up at like 9. So it was like 5 hours of sleep. Yes, you can ask the computer for any damn thing. The Vulcans say we here to serve. Yes, we live to serve. Also, again, the dude's movements and talks like this, like total, like a nice little, slightly reptilian vibe on it. And the god damn, the contact lenses are straight up on the reptilian side too, because they're yellowish with a little slim iris, I think. Yes, the weapons. Always need to know where the weapons are. Now that's now you we think about it, it's kind of impractical. Yes, weapons locker on the habitat ring. Only in the habitat ring in that one section? I would think that they will be available to a large degree in different locations. Hey, if you always got to look over your shoulder. You never know what's coming up behind you. Somebody shot at Toss. It's like O'Brien is able to tell exactly the angle of which somebody shot at Toss' ship, and it's like the hit like through the impulse systems and everything. I mean, we forget that O'Brien is, of course, was the tactical officer on the Rutledge under Benjamin Axe. Oh, what's a ram scoop? Oh, oh, they get okay. They're breaking. O'Brien's learning the tech. It'll be easy to fix like a piece of cake, man. Yeah, another what it says. Uh, I like what it says. Is like take these parts out over to the replicator station and get center because it would be an industrial replicator to create stuff like this. And I say an industrial replicator because you actually see one on the Next Generation episode, on the episode Data's Day, where Worf is getting creating a wedding present for the O'Briens. Brian also has O'Brien is like wants his work to be praised. Doesn't want he does not going to do shoddy work. Yeah, O'Brien's trying to learn here. And another thing I like about Tosk in general, when he refers to O'Brien by name, he says it as O'Brien, as like two separate words instead of just O'Brien. I kind of wonder, it's like everything with Dabo was like, how legit are like the folks that cries of Dabo and such? It's like, is it totally scripted? Mourn. Yes. So we gotta. It's like we're gonna say it every time Morn his name is Morn appears on screen for certain. He's the most important character on Deep Space Nine, don't you know? Yes, Tusk is like it has a unique commentary and perspective. It's like Tusk is realizing the differences between the two. Hey, barkeep, you are a barkeep, which is the same as the barkeep. I'm sorry, I have no vices for you to exploit. And Quark's like, yeah, I would just be. We'll try and find something for it to exploit out of you. You know what's kind of weird about Quark's makeup, and it's that it almost always, depending on the lighting, it almost looks like he has like a black, at least one, he has a black eye, depending on the camera angle and the lighting. Because there's a bit of almost like a purple blackish like outline around his eyes, and it's the only Ferengi that we really see that with. You don't see it on Nog, you don't see it on Rom, you don't see it on the Nagus or Liquidator Brunt of the FCA. It almost like every day somebody's punching Quark in the face. Tosk is private. He. So it's funny. They give him like coffee mugs, but what's real funny? Like later on in the series is like Quarks actually get some actual proper glass mugs for ales and stuff. Especially when it's announced that Kira is pregnant in season 4. This is the fact that O'Brien just interrupts Bashir. It's a great thing here about Deep Space Nine that there isn't a poorly written Betazoid character, such as in the case of Deanna Troy. Otherwise, like you have to find excuses as to why Troy's empathic abilities or telepathic abilities are highly ineffective. Oh, it's like, oh, I can't sense anything from him. So here you have O'Brien, who's like getting to know someone and going off of O'Brien's gut, O'Brien's intuition, his interactions with him. It's like, yeah, you know what? I got this feeling, I got this vibe coming off of him, just based on their genuine interactions. And okay, and Odo is the painting. That was $1 million right there. So here, so here's the big question regarding Odo being able to like waiting there for Tusk. Was Tusk earlier investigation accessing the weapons locker? Like, look at his inquiry. Was it? Did it set off Odo's like security checks or something? And thus he was like, okay, he will be waiting for like somebody to like access the weapons locker. It's a security. Yeah, what must you prepare for? He can't discuss it. He is Tusk, and it's like the justification there is like Tusk is not his name; it's what he is. is essentially he is prey. Brian, oh, excuse me. Also, Odo's makeup looking a lot more smooth. It's kind of funny, like over the course of this season, first several episodes, the makeup for Odo's face gets smoother and smoother to where it's like, okay, it starts looking more and more like how he's supposed to look at times. It was like makeup, the mask that he wears. It's like it's a big prosthetic mask. I believe Iron Stephen Bear says like he has one of the ones that Rene Auberjonois ripped off his face, hanging in his home somewhere. You can totally accept it. Yes, okay, it was going back to the old weapons locker. No, he has not committed a crime. Yes, yeah, yes. Is like yes, it is. Here it is, like the big cultural difference here. Like Starfleet like to think they're understanding, but to like try to realize, okay, something has to be going on here. Maybe to think from a cultural perspective. But the look on O'Brien's face, I am so disappointed on you, Tosk. Talk to me. Tell me what you were doing, Tosk, man. Oops, I hit the wrong thing there. Who wanted to kill them? Well, the prototype Herodian. Like, yeah, Tosk is expecting trouble, and again, when what O'Brien says here, he's climbing the walls like a trap animal because that what Tosk generally is. He's a bipedal animal. He is being pursued. He is being hunted. And yes, I dropped a review that was like, yeah, if I am that type of Star Trek fan, I know what the Herodian are. They are hunters and such, and the species that's going to be coming next to the wormhole in this episode are flat out, without question, like prototype Herodian, straight up. And you know what? What actually would have made Voyager a hell of a lot fucking better. I'm going off, I'm going to go off on a rant here right now regarding it. Is that they could have used the designs and look for these sons of bitches that's appearing in this episode, with their helmets and the red jumpsuits and the same facial makeup and everything. You could have had them appeared in Voyager, and you could have had his look okay, whether the route that Voyager was going on was going to take him through the Gamma Quadrant, which and you know what that would have meant. It's like, oh, they could have like make their way towards the Bajoran wormhole. So that would have meant like going through Dominion space and everything else, because they already passed Borg space by the time the freaking Herodian appeared. So you could have gone through this, and Voyager could have ended where it started, literally coming through the Bajoran wormhole. You could have had more with the Dominion and stuff. You could have had Odo appear. Yeah, you could have had the Dominion. Could have had the Dominion and the Borg clashing at times. So it was like these dudes, as silly as they look, prototype Herodian. Because you look at how these dudes are with the helmets and the red jumpsuits and everything, these guys would totally be into just like uh doing holographic hunts and stuff in the simulation of Nazi controlled France. Fire phases. Get behind pillars. Yeah, Bajoran have no problem shooting a dude in the back. In fact, like Kira is like looking through like this little grated bird cage thing, and Odo looks away from Cisco, goes all the way around to to get with Kira. And Kira's double fist in here, but Jordan phaser in one hand with Federation phaser in the other. Powerful crossbow looking weapon, but granted the crossbow portion is vertical-ish. That's another time where the damn doors to Odo's office it gets damaged. I mean, his office was basically was torn to shreds, and a man alone, and now the freaking doors got blown off. Give it over, like the infrared scan on the helmet is just cheating. But you also think about it. Okay, it's what what Predator would do. What's in the Predator's mask? Also, like that we've seen in it. It's like he has like always infrared, thermal imaging, uh, all sorts of scanners in the helmet and such. The sass with all the buttons and stuff blinking. That's actually a cool look there. Oscar's alive. Obvious green screen is obvious. Again, if these dudes would have popped up as the Hirogen up in Voyager, would have made so much damn sense. And also, when you think about it, it's like the Hirogen is like take a lot of the makeup inspiration from Tosk and of himself too, with a lot more with how the Hirogen will look. Again, you paint Tosk brown, you take the makeup and concept of everything for brown in terms of how Tosk looks on the face and neck and stuff, because you don't really see the Hirogen have these big suits and things. It's like, yeah, you could totally see him as the basis for what we would eventually see with the Hirogen. Yes, he is the prey. I was saying this the entire time, Cisco. The hunter here does have some fabulous hair. I don't know the hair. Remember, I made the comment about Odo's makeup and mask looking a lot smoother. It depends on the lighting. You can hear it's looking a lot more bony and hollow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like Cisco will fight over any damn thing. Like you're lucky he doesn't have the USS Ben Cisco's motherfucking pip pan on hand, but that shows up at the start of season 3, aka the Defiant. For those who don't know, but O'Brien is looking at Tosk, and you can tell he's like understanding a bit there, and the look of shame on Tosk's face is like, yeah, he couldn't really ask for I know that Tosk couldn't ask for help, that he couldn't that he like try he could only say at so much, which and again here with the whole thing here, it's like, yes, the entire business is the hunt. He was bred for the hunt and everything. For like they want the most exciting hunts possible. This is just This is gets recycled to be the Hirogen. So again, listen, this in this entire species could have been repurposed. Actually, could have showed up on Voyager, and you could have had a lot more continuity and stuff. You could have had, there could have been like so much there. with Voyager, if these Gamma Quadrant aliens appeared in, it's like maybe say like on whatever it is the border is devised there between the Gamma and Delta quadrants are. Because when Voyager got lost in the Delta quadrant, the like it was before the Dominion was even established. Like I think it gets referenced a couple of times throughout season two, but nothing's like really known. Yeah, Kira coming in there says like, "Yeah, what if he requests asylum?" Like, and Cisco says, "There's the out. O'Brien, go for it. Yeah, lay it out for him if he asks for it." And this decided to put Dax standing on the step for no damn reason. Just to have her hands on her back is like, yes, point out like how good that uniform looks on her. O'Brien is like is earnest here to ask for it. But Tosca does not want that. Like Tosca is proud of what he is. Like it's like Tosk is was bred for one thing. It's like he is what it was, what he was bred for, what it was created for. Is like Tosk knows who he is, and that's like the important thing here. Like it's very like similar to like the Klingons and everything. You look for like the battle, but in this case, for the Tosk, it's like yeah, the more clever you are, it's like the the like yeah, it's like there's take pride. It's like the longer a Tosk lasts in a hunt, like the greater their legend, the greater their what is it, the honors on them. So it's like it's why he can't accept asylum. He has the pride, even in being taken back alive as a prisoner in chains and to be put on display and shamed. Like yeah, he simply got captured. It's like he ended up in a part of the galaxy he did not know really existed. Quark is disappointed that he's not been able to sell a drink to anyone from the Gamma Quadrant. I can't blame him. Oh, come on, O'Brien. You're used to speaking to the barkeeps. Well, that's why he never had an interaction with Guinan because actually, come to think about it, I can like, totally picture O'Brien telling Guinan to fuck off when if she tried to weasel her way into with one of her delightful insights. There's like where she like, and like anytime she has like a conversation and stuff where she like pushes her way into it. It's totally weird. Like I can totally picture O'Brien telling Guinan to fuck off, which actually would have been something wonderful here. Because but you have Quark here, like but Quark being a bartender, a proper barkeep, is getting O'Brien to open up here to help him talk his way through his problems and such. In this case, the rule is like the rules of the games. Like Federation has their rules, Tosk has his rules, and other things. It's like, and as Quark was about to say, as the inspiration here that hits O'Brien, change the rules. It's the Kobayashi Maru. It's like, yeah, yes, you have your set standard rules and everything, but sometimes you got to adjust the rules, or got to go outside rules to get something done. Quark going over to the next person. Hey, so what the hell is your problem? This dude is like totally hangover on the bar, depressed. They're like, oh, this fucking guy. Cork has a great way of like getting people. Cork has a way of getting people to open up. Because if they open up, they talk, they get thirsty, they want to take a drink. Speaking of which, oh, is it necessary to drag them on a leash? Apparently, yes, it is. Odo's not too thrilled. Like Odo could have just hit the combat and talked to Cisco instead of just going up to ops. With O'Brien says like, yeah, this is a Starfleet matter. It was just is like this is like why would Odo just go up to ops? It's like hit the combat and talk to Cisco directly. Granted, for the purposes of the scene, it set things up nicely. Oh, but it's a bit contrived. But also, I'm looking here, loving here. Toss is looking down. He's somber. He's shamed. You know, Brian taking the comm badge off, tossing it onto the desk. And then Cisco realizing what is O'Brien doing. Again, knowing that LeVar Burton borrows Carl uniforms for Star Trek Generations becomes so much more obvious. And I'm mentioning here, like the comment here, that O'Brien normally has his sleeves rolled up. It's very rare to see him with his sleeves fully rolled down in this uniform. And also got a comment on that the punch on the hunter is like, oh, it's like glass jaw. I see why you wear the helmets. You beaming over, and the big leap. Dude oversold the bump, however. It's like you just got pushed backwards and you flipped yourself over the railing. Yeah, it looks like Cisco's here. He ain't happy, but it's like getting the reports and everything. It's like he just sitting there with his arms on the on the center console. It's like, yeah, okay, I see what's happening here. There's no hurry. Take your time. And then Odo's like, yeah, yeah, all right. I'll just I'll just walk a lot slower now. You know, I don't have to rush. Crawling through the ducts. Like the die hardy nature. Like, gotta get through those Jeffries tubes. Or whatever the hell you call them on a Cardassian space station. Access ways? Yeah, it's like, this is, for O'Brien, this is just like having a little bit of fun here. Hey, you never seen a scanning device that could penetrate it? Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, no, somebody. Well, these hunters have devices that can scan through anything. First, you gotta get that traditional drop down and land on some poor schmuck. Instant knock them out. Guess with the weight and everything in their head hitting the floor, that would knock them out, depending on the. And then there's these assholes. Yeah, he's yours, and you missed, dude. Like one shot, hit three guys with one bullet, which is simply fantastic. Like you can't even do that in Overwatch, but in a poorly balanced piece of shit game like Marvel Rivals, you totally could take out three enemies with one shot. And then we just put this weapon up here. The hunt goes on. He's getting ready to depart. Like like O'Brien can't go. He has a wife and kid and responsibilities that he has to live up to. Yeah, it's like O'Brien's like just haven't seen like the joy in it. It's like doing the right thing. He made a friend. It's like, and it's a shame that you never see Tosk pop up again in Deep Space Nine. But again, like you get so much of O'Brien's personality here throughout the course of this entire episode. That yeah, he's a family man, but you know what? He realizes what's right, what's wrong, the circumstances. Is like, and we see that O'Brien has that bit of a rebellious streak that you would not see. You cannot see an episode like this on the Next Generation. That's for damn sure. There is nothing on the Next Generation that comes close to being like Captive Pursuit as an episode. Because what would Picard do? Picard would be like, okay, we picked him up, and it's like we'll turn him over to him. Actually, no. I think about it. There is the one episode that does. You know what the episode actually on the Next Generation that comes closest to it, or like exactly what Picard would do? What I just said, the outrageous Okana in season 2. Disco is pissed, and Avery Brooks just conveys fury so well here. Like O'Brien trying to bullshit his way through it. It's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, the hunters weren't too happy about it. So it's like, the way I see it is like, just save it. And Cisco saying that he was going to throw him off the station, take him and Molly, take Keiko and Molly with him. And here comes O'Brien says, like, yeah, you know what? I could have disabled everything here. So somebody had to like delay some stuff. Yeah, it totally got by you. Yeah, yeah, sure it did. Again, this is the difference between Cisco and Picard. A huge difference between Cisco and Picard is the fact that, again, like Picard would totally on board. Is like, okay, here's your prey. Get off my ship. Yeah, Kirk would definitely go more the O'Brien. Kirk would definitely align more with Cisco. As would Insane Way would. It's like, what would Insane Way do? That's an interesting conundrum. The credits are rolling there. Insane Way would probably. Insane Way would probably say, "Oh, you got your. Oh, we accidentally captured your prey. Well, fine. Here you go. But in exchange, can you give us some of your tech that could get us like a few hundred light years closer to where we need to go?" And then, of course, the species would be like, "No, we cannot, because our technology will our rules are we can't share our tech with." And then Janeway will go, "All right, fine we'll keep them here." And then the typical Voyager episode with the shooties and the techno babbles, and everything will fall out from there. So yeah. What would Jonathan Archer do in this situation? Uh, the Paul will be all for just turning Tosk over to the hunters, but Archer would more likely help the Tosk escape. So there you go. So there you go. There. So at least that's my breakdown of like in terms of what the commanders would do. Bashir only gets like one sequence of lines. Dax gets like a couple of techno babble lines at the very beginning, and as well as being for whatever reason just standing, was like posing on a step, just standing on a step, hand behind her back, just looking towards the camera, and by proxy, Cisco is like kind of a weird place to put her. It's like it's kind of a weird shot. Yeah, we need to, and because she is seen from the side looking towards the camera. She's like literally like this. It's like it doesn't show off. Yes, she is quite pronounced up top. Actually, there's a shot towards the very beginning when Toss comes through the wormhole and Kira's standing at the center console and ops. That's kind of almost the same thing, where it's like kind of weird of how Kira is just standing. Uh, but still. So yeah, I make no apologies for the talking about like the Jem'Hadar, the Hirogen, and everything of that sort. And I make no apologies for saying it's like, yeah, how could Voyager have been made so much? Could have been made improvements. It's like they could have made some connections here with these aliens in Deep Space Nine. They only appeared once in Deep Space Nine, and you have this hunter species showing up in Voyager. Like, could have made the strong connections there, especially with how much of Tosk's makeup uh, and how Tosk looks will go on to look like the Jem'Hadar, and how much it will go on to look like the Hirogen outright. That because I actually absolutely see the parallels the more and more I was thinking about it and looking at it. But certainly a fine episode that again is what makes Deep Space Nine's season one far better than the Next Generation or Voyager season one, or even Enterprises. So it was like, because Captain Pursuit, a season one episode of Deep Space Nine, is the equivalent of being a season four episode of the Next Generation. Because again, if you know where Deep Space Nine goes, it's like it gets better and better, and certainly Deep Space Nine is not as of all the Trek series. Deep Space Nine is not the series that suffers from we ran out of ideas. No, or that we had to recycle scripts that were intended for war from like 5 years prior, such as Voyager with their what was it, the barge? There was an episode involving Balana Torres on Voyager. It's either the Barge of the Dead episode, or I don't think it was the Kuv Maga episode. But there's an episode of Voyager that was essentially supposed to be a Worf episode from like for like Worf from the Next Generation era. Like it's like I repurposed like 5-6 years after the fact that the idea was pitched. That it ended up being like a Voyager episode. It's like but still, very, very enjoyable episode. I'm trying to think what's in is the next episode. The next episode is either Qless or Dax. I didn't look at the because the disc in them are the menus are kind of weird in its own way with how there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 on the on on the disc. I think there's only like 4 episodes per disc, 4 or 5. Oh wait, there's only 4 episodes per disc. So I was like, okay. So next time out was either Qless or a Dax, being the next episodes from season one. One involves Vosh and Q. The other one involves the other one involves Jadzia Dax, and that where we learn. But we'll talk about that when I record the next video. Anyway, tighten your friendship bracelets. Stay safe. Like, comment, subscribe if you're so inclined. If you want to toss me a few bucks to help keep the lights on and such, there's a donation link in the description below. And you feel free to come hang out with me over on my Twitch channel. We do all sorts of At the time I'm recording this, we were playing Borderlands 3 and Mass Effect Andromeda. And Wednesdays, I believe, we should be featuring Revenge of the Savage Planet by the time this video is live over here on YouTube. Anyway, we'll catch you next time. See ya, folks.